you're doing well. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I thought I would do like a reading vlog to support, is that the right word? I don't know, celebrate the release of the Tortured Poets Department by Taylor Swift. I love that. I've got a playlist that I listen to very, very often. It's just called T Swift, and it basically has her like nearly all of her latest albums. There's so many songs. I'll put the picture here. I'm just gonna shuffle it, and whatever the first song comes up, I'm gonna try and find a book that either has sort of like that title or maybe the vibe or something. I don't really know how much gonna make it work, but I will try. And pick a book and read it, and that will be this vlog, and then see how many I do. So let me do the shuffle, and then I'll come back and see what I'm gonna pick. So I got Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. I didn't really know, so I thought I'd do a little bit of searching about sort of like what the real meaning of it is. I found this article which I'll just put here, and she's basically saying it's about how we like build artists and creatives up, and we like hold them to like higher standards in some sense, and like how like we like to drag them down. I was perusing my shelves. Obviously I can't get to a lot of my books at the moment because I have a problem, but I thought I would pick this, Idle Burning by Rin Yusami, translated by Asa Yoneda. This is a Japanese book. I thought it sounds a little bit similar. I may be pushing the boat out, but this is basically meant to be following high school student Akari, who has only one passion in her life, her idol, Masami Ueno. And it's sort of about her like obsession with him, and it's sort of like he is the spine of her life. She cannot survive without him, but then he is apparently rumoured to have assaulted a fan, and then this like media backlash, yeah, it says offering a vivid insight into otaku culture and adolescence. Idle Burden is a gripping story of obsession, coming of age, and the addictive, relentless nature of fandom culture. So although it's not exactly the same, it is somewhat similar, and I have been wanting to read this for ages, so I'm gonna pick this, I'm gonna read this and give you an update soon. I am excited. Hopefully this idea works, but yeah, be back at ya.
Is it YA? It's YA, right? I'm so scared of YA.
About 25 pages, and now I'm just watching Barcelona Women's League match because I want to. Oh. Hey, good afternoon. Yeah. So yesterday, I got to page 84 of Idle Burning, but I'm enjoying it. It's okay. There's not really that much really happening and going on in it though, to be honest. It's just a little bit mundane, but yeah, I don't know. I'll probably talk to you about it more when I've actually finished it, but yeah, I hope to finish that a little bit later today and then pick my next song.
But it's like coming up for free, and I need to do my voting because that's today. I want to go and do it before the children come out of school because children like stress me out. So I think I'm gonna quickly get changed and go and do that. Maybe have a bit of a walk. I'm not sure. The weather's really bad. But it's not like raining. It was raining this morning, like thunderstorm, like lightning. But it's just been cloudy now, so we'll see. I don't know who I'm gonna vote for. I've been reading this. I'm just like, I honestly don't really care. But I will do it just because if the people I don't want to get in, at least I can't. At least I can have a valid excuse to put my thoughts across as to why I'm annoyed or whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't know, does it really matter? It's the grand scheme, because, yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna do that, and come along with me, just down the road, so yeah. Let's go. All done and dusted. I'm back. I didn't really go for a walk because I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. But anyway, I don't know why my hair's doing that. Rude. Anyway, I made a coffee, and I'm gonna finish this. I think I'm gonna listen to some Madonna because I haven't listened to Madonna in a while. So yeah, So I finished the book. It wasn't actually as long as I thought. It actually finishes at page 15, and then there's an afterward Q&A, like a translator note, acknowledgements, and yep. But I thought it was fine. I thought it was mostly enjoyable read, quite quick, not just because of the size, but also just the way it flows, and it's not really that much to unpack, I guess. But yeah, I did quite enjoy this. I think for star rating, I'm probably going to give it around a 3 or 3.5. If I had read this like a year or so ago, it probably would have gotten a 4, but I feel like I've read a lot more now that I know how to compare. But yeah, it wasn't necessarily bad, it just didn't really give me that much. But yeah, like I said, we're following the high school student Akiri, and just basically her love of her Oshi Mizaki, and this sort of like backlash from a suspected incident where he apparently hit a fan, and then how this just sort of like impacts him and her and like the fandom. He's like a member of this like J-pop like boy band called Maza. And yeah, we're just basically following her and sort of like her descent into just more and more obsession with him, and sort of like being othered in a sense from her friends and family and the other members of society, and just how like her fandom and this part of her life is basically just her whole life, and it is like the spine of her being. And yeah, it also talks sort of a bit about sort of like cancel culture, and in the afterwards she talks about his sort of like flaming of a celebrity, and it's sort of like the criticism of it, and like the impacts on them and their family and stuff as well. And this sort of like gives a little bit of idea about how we like to sometimes see celebrities brought down, which is relevant to the song Are You Scared of Little Old Me? But yeah, I have like a few bits I thought I'd just read out to you that I thought was quite good. The first bit was on page 16. There was an interview from Mizaki that he was talking to someone. He talked about when he sort of like got into acting when he was a child, and he said about and I want to cry but I don't, I laugh, I see my smile reflected in the bear's eyes and it's just perfect. From then on the bear keeps doing that move to make me laugh, and that's how I learned, oh okay, no one can tell if your smile is fake, no one sees how I feel. And that was when he was 5 years old, sort of like child acting. And I guess it talks about this sort of like facade celebrities and stuff put on when they're not actually feeling that way, I guess. And a little bit later, page 33, talking about this obsession with the Oshi. I say, I could see that normal people fleshed out their days with schoolwork and activities and part-time jobs that gave them money to go out with friends to the movies, to eat or to buy clothes, which enriched their lives. I was moving in the opposite direction. My entire experience was increasingly concentrated into this backbone, as if I was going through some kind of ordeal to purify myself. Everything that was unnecessary fell away until my spine was all that was left. So yeah, so it just talks about her sort of like descent more and more. She is also described as being sort of like not normal and possibly on medication, and like struggling with like writing kanji and her schoolwork and like education. So I don't know if like she has a specific like condition, or like some part of her, but it's not fully expanded on. It's a little bit half baked in some sense. In the acknowledgements, I thought that was done quite well, because she said how this part of Akiri is based on her younger brother and his problems with like learning kanji and education, and the way that he was sort of like experiencing the world in a different way. But again, it's not really said if there's something certain that he had or something. But I just thought it just gave a little bit of life to it. But yeah, I thought this was fine. It was a quick, fun-ish read. I thought like it was going to go a bit more into this sort of like cancel culture situation. And I just felt like it was a little bit basic in some sense. Like it didn't really do that much. But I guess I would recommend it, but it wasn't nothing amazing. But yeah, let's do another shuffle of my Taylor playlist and see what the next song is to choose a book from. So I got On the Other Side of the Door. I was stumped, to be honest. I didn't really know where to go with this. I was originally thinking Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune because it's like door, but I'm not in the mood for a book like that. And I just searched on Goodreads like similar sort of like buzzwords that were in the title, and there's nothing really that I have that fulfills it. So I was thinking like, okay, I'll just search up again what is sort of like the meaning. I sort of get what it is. It's sort of about like you say something but you mean something else, sort of like in a relationship, and like you want them to leave but really you want them to, you know, like give you love and things. So here's just a little screenshot of sort of what she's trying to say in it, which is basically just what I said. So I was thinking that gives me miscommunication trope vibes, sort of. Yeah, right. Anyway, nearly all of my romances are like behind a stack of books, and I'm just really just not in the mood to take the stuff off to find one. So I thought I'd pick a YA one. I just searched up YA books with miscommunication trope, and this was like one of the first ones that came up that I had. I sort of read the back and it does give me sort of that vibe, so I'm just going to read that and whatever. And that is What If It's Us by Becky Albertelli and Adam Silvera. This is about Arthur and Ben, and I think it's dual POV because that's what it looks like from the start. And they basically just have a chance meeting at a post office in New York. After the boys leave, wondering what exactly the universe does have in store for them. What if they can't find each other again? What if they do and then can't nail a first date? What if Arthur tries too hard to make it work and Ben doesn't try hard enough? So I feel like it gives me them vibes and whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna read this and then let's start. I've just stopped it on page 4 because I just thought I'd give like the first like page a go and see. And yeah, I think I'm going to continue. It is quite long. I don't really like long romances or long books in general, but let's give it a go and see. So yeah, I'll give you an update soon. So I'm currently on page 21 at the moment. I'm enjoying it really a lot at the moment. I'm really enjoying the characters. My hair, I don't even know, don't even ask. But there's a bit on page I'm on, and Ben, he's talking about the breakup with his ex Hudson, and he was bringing the box of stuff to the post office to send away when he met Arthur, who was from Georgia, and he's sort of like interning at something at his like mum's law firm for like the summer. I can't get over my hair, but anyway, he's talking about the breakup. Not together. They sort of like left when there was like a flash mob at the post office. So you didn't like get each other's name or like number or anything, but they both sort of felt like an attraction. Anyway, so he's talking about when he went to the cinema with his ex Ben, about 2 teen boys, and he just went off about how love, even our own, could never be Holloway worthy. I stormed off and thought he would chase me and apologize or call my name, or literally anything a boyfriend should do. Nothing for 3 days. And that's literally sort of like in the song, sort of like they just like storm off, they tell to go, but really they want them to like, you know, be there. So even if the rest of the book has nothing else of that in, I feel like I've fulfilled the prompt and I'm enjoying it, so yay. More updates soon. Page 28, and it's already been like 4 or 5 Harry Potter references. Why is it referenced so much? It just, I don't know. I just don't care for it, to be honest. I feel like it's getting crazier every like video. I also watch men's football, but not often. It's like the opposite way around. I love it. I love it. Third through What If It's Us, and I'm just about to go on to part 2. It's Us. I'm not about to do it now because it is currently 1:50 a.m. so instead I'm going to go to sleep. But I've been enjoying this a lot at the moment. It's really like I just really like the characters. Yeah, so as I said, we're following Arthur and Ben, and we're just getting to know more about them and their sort of like past a little bit as well, and their friends and family, and just sort of like both trying to search for one another, because they felt like there was something there, and yeah, so I mean it's kind of a bit obvious obviously that like they are going to find each other, because there isn't even much point of a book if it's just the whole time just searching. But they have just found each other now, and they're planning to go on a first date, which it sounds really cute, and yeah, I just really like these characters, and can't wait to continue tomorrow.
Rest, and she goes to this struggling bookshop, and there's a big mouse, and there's a fucking owl dog creature. I'm so excited. I keep saying.
So I'm home. I read actually a lot today on the buses. I think I'm up to page like 320 or something like that. And yeah, I'm enjoying it quite a lot. I definitely came into it more like miscommunication and just like messiness, I guess, but it does feel quite real. But yeah, I'm gonna get changed and make something to eat because I haven't eaten anything all day, and it's like 11:30 now. I was out the whole day, but like I'm fine. Anyway, and I think I'll probably do an update if I read any more tonight or tomorrow, but see you then. Wasn't really feeling tired anymore, and I just had like a burst of just like energy. I get like that sometimes, like I'm quite up and down, but that's not to do with this vlog. But anyway, I've actually read quite a lot more. I'm on page 398 at the moment. It's given sort of like 4 to 4.25 star rating. It's not like amazing, but it's enjoyable. But yeah, I shall see.
The first ever meeting between the Utah Royals and Angel City FC.
So I finished this morning. Actually, I read the last like 20-ish, 30 pages, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give this 4 stars. It was fun, it was fast paced, I really like the characters. Obviously there is like miscommunication and messiness in it, but I think it is done quite well. And Ben, he is sort of Puerto Rican, and it talks about like him and his sort of like working class sort of upbringing, and the way he like views like money and finances, and how it's quite different from Arthur, who is like from a rich background and family. And how it's sort of like something that's always on his mind. But I feel like I did really like that sort of like rep, and it just sort of like added more layers to the story, and also getting to know like their friends, Dylan, who is Ben's like best friend, and he starts seeing this other girl called Samantha, and his also like ex Hudson, and other friend Harriet, I think that's her name, and also Arthur's friends, Jesse and Ethan, who were back in Georgia, and their sort of like dynamics as well. So yeah, overall I think this was a good read, and I'm glad I got to it. I think maybe it could have been a little bit shorter, but I still enjoyed all what was happening as I was going along. There is a sequel to this, which I might pick up if I find it in like a charity shop or whatever, like I did this. I'm not like eager to like instantly like get it and read it. I think I did quite like the way this ended, and it sort of left a few things to like your imagination, but if I find it I probably will pick it up. So yeah, let's do the next shuffle and see which song we have in reference for the next book. I don't know why I said it like that, but let's do that. Once again, I kind of struggled with this one. I've been thinking like what to pick, but I listened to the song a couple times. I know, just don't. And also saw that like there's like a hidden message for like quite a few of her songs, and for this it's Guess I Was Fooled by Your Smile, and it is sort of about a relationship, and I guess sort of like emotional abuse in a sense, and sort of like you love someone but at the same time they're hurting you, and yeah, so I didn't really know exactly what to pick, but I thought I would go for a memoir, and one I've been wanting to read for so long, so I'm super happy I'm gonna read it. I feel like it's gonna be quite a hard one, but rewarding as well, and nearly everyone I follow loves it, so hopefully I will do too. And that is In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. I've also got the audiobook, which I downloaded through BorrowBox, so I'm going to listen and read along. And yeah, this is just a wildly innovative like memoir basically, about the author, and her relationship with a charismatic but volatile woman, and it's meant to use different like narrative forms and perspectives to tell the story of this relationship, and her coming to terms with the abusive nature, and I'm guessing moving like forward. So yeah, I'm gonna start this now, and I'll be giving you an update soon. Oh, big stretch, big stretch. Oh, you beauty, oh, you beauty.
Light green of Barca in the change to... Immediately you have stuck with that end, and from the left hand side of the defence, well, we'll see.
So I've been reading this. This is so good. It's written so good. But I just thought it was really weird is that I'm up to page 84 now, so I've read quite a lot. But I'll talk more about it like later or whatever. But is it going to be the other way around or not? I think it's okay when I do it here. But here she talks about Angela Carter's The Tiger's Bride, which is a short story, and guess what I'm like, what I've been like reading, well, I started it before this, but I'm not loving it, is The Bloody Chamber, which is a collection of short stories by Angela Carter. And the one I literally just finished, like a couple of days ago, was The Tiger's Bride. It's a bit of a weird quinky dink. Anywho, I'm going to continue reading this for about half an hour, and then I will do something else. So yeah, see you then. Hey, so it's actually been 2 days now. Yesterday I did end up finishing In the Dream House, and I did some other stuff, but I just had a not very good day, and I just was not in the mood for, you know, filming or doing anything like that. So I thought I would give you the update now. But yeah, this was so good. Oh my god, it was amazing. It just feels very, very unique and very different from what I've like read before. But yeah, basically it's just Carmen telling her story of being in a abusive queer relationship with another woman, and she creates this sort of like dream house, which I'm just gonna quickly read you a quote. This is later on when she's like sort of in the middle of writing the book. She says, "It was a book about a house that was not a house and a dream that was no dream at all." And it's sort of like she creates this place, and you're just like following her on a journey that does move forward in time, from the start of this relationship and within it, and then afterwards, and her moving on from it. And it does so by using so many different narratives to tell her story, and like the chapters are very short, and just like example, like it talks about like an apartment or something, and like she talks about that, I Love Lucy episode, like a fantasy novel, like legacy, modern art. That one was really good. Chekhov's gun, a pop single, choose your own adventure, like Goosebumps, a murder mystery, a surprise ending, a natural disaster, Mrs. Dalloway, thanks Obama, famous last words. Literally so many different like ways of telling it that are just so ingenious, and I just don't like understand how she was able to not only just like tell her story but make it fit these different like narrative forms. It's just, yeah, so clever. It is also quite a hard read, and it is very like sad, and also quite eerie as well, because you're just following her as the sort of like the abuse starts, and you feel so connected with her, and you know how she's thinking and feeling, and it's difficult to, you know, put yourself in her place, but also if you're thinking about how you would act in that way, like you'll just want to be like, you know, get out like as fast as you can, but she makes it seem like that's not really an option. And yeah, it's very like emotive, and you just like, she holds you. I really love the part that was like choose your own adventure, because it's further later on in the book, and you've sort of like understood how she's probably going to react, so you're given with these like different options, and you sort of like follow and go back and forth and things. I just think it was just really clever, because she is literally putting you in her place there. You can tell from just like a flip through of like how much is like underlined and things, and yeah, it is just really amazing quotes. Also, I love the parts that were like deja vu, and like the subtleties and little things she changes in those sections was just like mind blowing. Wow. so great. That is like the memoir aspect, but there's also like non-fiction parts in here as well, and it talks about sort of like queer villainy and how like villains and like queer people are sort of like put on the same level in like especially like older films and like Disney films and stuff, how like these people are sort of like the more interesting of the story. She says they're always by far the most interesting characters on the screen. After all, they live in a world that hates them. They've adapted, they've learned to conceal themselves, they've survived. I was just talking about how like queer people need to have more representation in media, good and bad, and how like expanding representation, we give space to queers to be as characters, as real people, human beings, and then also there another quote that is to say queers, real life ones, do not deserve representation, protection and rights because they are morally pure or upright as people. They deserve those things because they are human beings, and that is enough. And like it's literally like that's the point. Yeah, like you don't need to be good to have rights, you just, you know, need to be a human, and that's what's important. Queer narratives, and more especially like queer female and then queer female abuse victim narratives, have such little representation compared to like a woman that is abused by a man, for example. Whereas if it's a woman abused by a woman, people don't think that's sort of like possible in a way, and it harks back to sort of like sexism and homophobia and lesbophobia, and how it's also like interlinked, and because you're not really getting the representation and the knowledge, how are you to know how you should feel and act in a certain situation and like the way to move forward? And yeah, I thought this book was amazing, so this is going to be a 5-star read from me. I do have obviously more quotes and things to share, but I think I'm going to try and like create a review and post that on my Goodreads and StoryGraph, which will have quotes in it. So yeah, check out for that if you want to, but I would 1,000,000% recommend reading this book. It was a hard one, it does contain like quite a lot of triggers, but I just think it's just the way she puts it together and addresses these situations is just done so well. And I cannot wait to read other things by her. I do have a short story collection, which I might be picking up soon, I don't know, but yeah, read this, it was so good. Now I'm going to do my next roll and see what we get. Okay, so I got Paris, and I was thinking like, should I read maybe a book that has Paris in the title, but I don't have any. I don't, should I read a book like set in Paris? I thought maybe, but I didn't really know exactly, so I was just looking on my like my French shelf, because I love French lit, even though the 2 I've read this year haven't been good, and I'm still reading Les Mis, and it's just getting very slow. But that is totally beside the point. It has nothing to do with this video one bit. But I thought I would go with The Inseparables by Simone de Beauvoir, translated by Lauren Elkin. I started reading just like the first like few pages to see if I'm interested, because it doesn't specifically say it is set in Paris, but she talks about places that are in Paris, and she was born and grew up in Paris, and Simone de Beauvoir, and this is sort of auto-fiction-esque, and I really want to read this, so I'm going to read this, and I think it fits the prompt well, so whatever, it's my video. But yeah, this is following, I think she said her name is Sylvie, but it's very similar, and she meets this new girl called Andre at her like school, and she's like quite small for her age. I think they're both 9, but she walks with the confidence of an adult, and they apparently like become close friends, and talk about so much, and it says on the back bit that this novel was never published in her lifetime. It tells the story of a real life friendship that shaped one of the most important thinkers and feminists of the 20th century. And yeah, also like this was like lost, I think, or it just was not published for so long, but then it has only recently been published, and she says it's dedicated to Zaza, who was the friend I think it's based on. So yeah, I adore all French autofiction. Love it. So hopefully this is going to be another hit. And yeah, I'm going to start reading this and I'll give you an update soon.
We don't know the truth of what's happening is less literary, perhaps, and more like moments that I can't read it. Alas, I did not want to read this.
So I've been reading this and just under halfway through, and it is so good. Let me show you some of like the quotes and stuff. Let me find if I can find one I've starred. Yeah. Yep. It's so good. But yeah, I will talk about it after. Hello. So I finished The Inseparables last night and it was so good. I absolutely love this. It was just so beautifully written. It's so like tender and pinpoint and just I don't know, it's so like weird to explain like my love for like these sort of books. Like just they hold you for a short time whilst you're actually reading, but they stick with you afterwards. And it's just a way like things are just presented that is just so like ethereal, and it's like weird to explain, but just yeah, read this book. It was so good. But anyway, what is like the actual story? So I sort of say it's about Sylvie, who is meant to be Simone, and she meets Andre, who is meant to be Zaza. And so they meet when they're 9 at like school, and Zaza is sort of like, she has a big personality, and she's sort of like, she's different in this sort of like conservative sort of religious school that they're at. And they just have such a beautiful friendship and bond. And they sort of like talk about like politics and family and religion and like love and ethics sort of, and like philosophy and different things as well. And then it follows them as like a little bit older, like 15, and then when they go to the Sorbonne, and then a little bit after to about like early 20s. The introduction by Deborah Levy and the afterword by Sylvie Le Bon de Beauvoir after reading the actual book, obviously. They like added more like insight into like Simone's life and Zaza and their friendship and like sort of why this book was a thing. So yeah, I would definitely recommend reading them as well. But I just thought I'd show you a few quotes that just like really stuck with me. The first like quite early, it's only on page 12. But what I admired most about her were the little habits she had that I never understood. Like when she saw a peach or an orchid, or even if someone just said one of those words to her, she shivered and goose flesh stood out on her arm. It was in those moments that I was most troublingly aware of the gift she had received from heaven, which I found so enthralling, her personality. Secretly, I thought to myself that Andre was one of those prodigies about whom later on books would be written. Like, oh my god, it's just so like impactful. And like, she did write a book about her. She tried, I think, 4 times. Yeah, just beautiful. And another bit is later on, this is when they're 15, and this is sort of like a turning point in the book. I'm not going to say like really what happens, but you're just talking about the way she loves her. Andre's character says, Bernard was the only person in the world who loved me for myself exactly as I was, and because I was myself. What about me, I asked. I was revolted by how unjust it all was. Didn't I value you for who you were? Of course, Andre said in an uncertain voice. I wanted to say to Andre the kinds of things you only see in books. You knew it, but from the day I met you, you were everything to me, I said. So adorable, but like heartbreaking. And a little bit later on, we were inseparable for so many years, and yet I realised I didn't really know you. I didn't really know you either, I said vigorously. I thought you were proud to be as you were. I envied you. I am not proud, she said. A funny little quote. That's a little spoiler for the next book because I've already done the roll. Well, not the roll. I called it a roll earlier, but it's not a roll. It's just a shuffle. But beside the point. This part here, that like it really just like impacted me because I could see the resemblance to another book. Andre says, "You'll have a career. You can be good for something without getting married." And then the little note I said is that it reminds me of the quote, like, "Because you will leave and we will stay," from Lie With Me. And yeah, oh, it's so good. And like, it actually does sort of remind me of Lie With Me, because in that book it's about two boys that fall in love, and one of them, the main character speaking, he has the brains and a bit more money as well, and you can tell that he is going to leave this small town and, you know, go off and have a life for himself, whereas the other boy, it doesn't really have those opportunities and he has family obligations as well. And this is a little bit similar in the way that, like, Sylvie or Simone, she doesn't really have these big massive family pressures that is put on Andre Zaza, and she is gonna, you know, become something, whereas Zaza, her mother and her love for her mother and her family and this strict sort of like societal framework, I guess, is making sure that like she's gonna have to do so and so and this and that, and like she is a woman in this world and she's gonna have to get married or like become like go to a convent or something. That's sort of like the only option she has. She can't like really follow her passions and desires and what she actually wants to do. And yeah, just like that sort of like really sticks with you, and just so much in his book I just felt was just amazing. And then one final quote, just from the afterword actually. It says, "What is this feeling conventionally labelled friendship, which set her tender heart ablaze with amazement and ecstasy, if not love?" Yeah, so yeah, this book was just really beautiful, the way it explored this friendship and love between these two young women, and yeah, I just absolutely adored it. So recommend. I wasn't know exactly what I was going to give it, because like it could have done more, I guess, and it wasn't, you know, that well rounded, but I just think the impact and the writing and everything in his book was just amazing, so I'm going to give this another 5 stars. So look at us, we've already got 2 5 stars in this video. This is really good. And now I have already done my shuffle, which I'll play now. I got The Great War, and like, first of all, when I saw it, I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to pick. Like, I just know what I'm going to pick because I've been wanting to read it for so long. It is on my 24 of 2024 list, and can you guess? Maybe, probably not. I'm doing it like that, but boom, I'm going to read In Memoriam by Alice Wynne.
But if you get this book and you mix it with this book and you shoot the film of it in this kind of tone and you play it to this soundtrack, then you get this book.
I want to read this for ages. I don't know why I haven't like got into it yet, but I'm going to do it in this video because this is a romance, sort of historical fiction set during World War One, which was known as the Great War, and it just sounds heartbreaking but beautiful, and I just adore queer romances that are set in a time where that romance can't be a thing, even though like they always make me like really emotional. But yeah, I'm gonna start reading this, and I cannot wait. Also, when I got it with the proper bookmark, but I think I'm gonna try and keep this like safe because I don't want to like ruin it, so I'm gonna use my like busted up Hatchards one. So I'll start this and I'll give you an update soon. I'll just continue watching Young Royals, but I've got a book to read and I can watch that after. I only watched it because I had a really bad migraine, but it's sort of easing. So let's get to reading. So I've got to page 54. I'm enjoying it so far, but it's currently just about to go 8 o'clock, so I need to go down and watch Eurovision because, of course. So I'm gonna do that and give you an update when that's done, and I come back and read some more. So I shall see you there.
2024.
Like this, I will link that one down below. And if you enjoy me, which you should, then you can subscribe and like this video if you end up enjoying it.
I don't know if I can continue. I'm already getting like really emotional. I can feel a cry coming on, and it's just like very visceral. And yeah, I don't know. I'm currently on page 80. I don't know. Oh, I hate it. Like, it's good, but like I hate the situation. I just no. Why did it have to be such a horrible thing? I just regroup. Let's go. Hey, so I'm about 70% through, I think, and I am enjoying it a lot. There's something here that it just chose violence, and I don't know why it's there, so I'm just going to scoot over a bit so you're seeing this side, even though it's not much better. But anyway, oh, I feel so self-conscious, but anyway, whatever. I'm enjoying this. I'm not loving it as much as I was in the start. I feel like when a certain thing happened, and then afterwards, like how things were sort of going on, the initial impact has sort of like left me a little bit, and a few things just seem maybe a little bit, not necessarily unrealistic, but just maybe a bit questionable. And yeah, I don't know. Also, like the beautiful sort of like poetic writing has sort of dropped off from the like 40% mark until where I am now. There is still elements of it, but it's not as strong as it was at the beginning. But yeah, I still like, I barely like annotate sort of like my books ever, but like the last 3 ones I have been, this time I've been using a pencil because it's my special hardback. I didn't want to, you know, ruin it or anything. But there are some nice quotes and things. I think my favourite one so far was actually the one I saw on the bookmark I got, which it says, "Would Gaunt have kissed him if it hadn't been for the war? Of course not. He would never have dared. He had been a coward, perhaps, or perhaps he had simply valued his heart intact. It was only because he knew he would die that he could be so reckless with it." Yeah, I think that one was very good. But yeah, I've been doing this vlog for quite a few days now. Like, I was only expected to do it just for a week, but here goes. Anyway, I'm gonna go downstairs, make a coffee. I want to watch another episode of Young Royals, and then hopefully try and read and finish this because I really want to edit and upload this today. But we shall just see. Also, I might put a star on my face because that is making me feel ill, but let's go and do that. Well, there's a few too many coincidences, as well. I'm going to say, because I'm going to get copyrighted. I'm close to tears again. Yeah. So I have finally finished In Memoriam, even though it hasn't like taken me that long, but like it felt like it was dragging a little bit, but yay. In the end, I did actually really enjoy this. I think it started very, very strong. It got a little bit slow and I was losing interest somewhat so during the middle, but I do think that the end made up for it, and overall I think it's a very good achievement, and Wynne does a lot in this book. For star rating, I don't really know. It started out very much like 4.755, and then it sort of went towards more like the 4 or maybe below, but then I think on the whole I think I'm going to give it a 4.5, and probably round it up to 5 on Goodreads. So that's a star rating, so a success for this video. But I thought I'd just show you a few like quotes and parts from it that I just like really love. This video is going to be so long, I know, but whatevs. But anyway, I've just had to use like different receipts and bookmarks and stuff. I won't go too much into detail when I get further on. I might have some other points as well, but here I really love this bit. This is after Gaunt has gone to the front.
Since editing, I've realised I haven't actually really told you the plot of the story, but just quickly, we're following two young men, Henry Gaunt and Sydney Elwood. They're in this sort of like boarding school place in Wiltshire, I want to say, and they're very, very good friends. Sort of feeling more, and it's in like 1914, so like the outbreak of the war, and then it follows them there and then to the front. Gaunt goes first because his mother is German and she wants him to like not be like ridiculed or thought of as like a traitor to the country, so she's like, okay, get there ready and stuff. And then Elwood follows later, even though Gaunt is specifically like no, but yeah, that's sort of mini plots, and then obviously a lot more happens, but I'm not going to say anymore. But yeah, back to the review.
He is having letters with like, sort of like an old friend called Sandys, and he said in one of his letters, perhaps I would rather Elwood had played at loving me, if only for a few weeks, than never to have had anything at all. There's an empty space in my mind where those memories might have been. Yeah, I thought it was like good, and it was like very strong, and yeah, I like that quite a lot. And then another bit, it's quite a bit later actually. This is like when it's like thingy, but they're thinking back, because there's some parts that do think back. And it says, it was a spring of lower sixth, and Elwood was so in love with Gaunt that his thoughts ran wild with anger. Gaunt was woven into everything he read, saw, wrote, did, dreamt. Every poem had been written about him, every song composed for him, and Elwood could not scrape his mind clean of him, no matter how he tried. I swear, it just sounds so lovely. Like, it's a shame because there's quite a few parts where it's clear that both of them love the other one, and they both think it's like unrequited love, and it might not be reciprocated, so they don't really do anything, and it's very like it hurts your heart. You're like, well, this, like, you sort of like missed out on some time and stuff, and like when they're at the front, and like the quote I shared earlier about like, would he have kissed him if it hadn't been for the war? He probably wouldn't have. And I guess it shows that even though there's so much brutality with the war and these like tensions and, you know, horrible things, it sometimes makes you think that like, well, this is us. We might not have much time together. Let's, you know, try something and be who we want to be and are meant to be in a way. You know, I just went through it and just like made sure I just looked at like some of my bits I had like starred, which are like the best parts. Here I thought was quite good. It was a common conversation. In 1913, you might ask a new acquaintance where he had gone to school or what he did for a living. In 1916, it was this: what part of yourself did you most fear losing? I thought it just like shows like how quickly like the conversation changed, and how sort of like the brutality of the war has impacted like your general conversations now. And actually just do another bit, but I don't want to say this because it's a spoiler for the book, but I will just, you know, skip past that because I shouldn't have actually highlighted it. Can I say this? I guess I can. Let's just say to have something that he had thought so grave be treated lightly and playfully, it was reassuring. He felt as if he had shed something, some weight he had not known he carried. That's what I'm gonna say about that. Oh, there's another one. What's this one? Okay, I'll talk about that in a second. But I guess a little notion is that quite a few times their sexuality is exposed in a way to other people, and there is a lot less homophobia than I would have expected. Hope it's not a spoiler, which is good, but I do in some ways question the realness of it and the historical accuracies, but at the same time I guess you have to sort of put your mind into their situation and how, you know, there's so much worse of things than there is than your friend being gay or whatever. So I can understand that, and it's more just about like, you know, you're my brother in arms in a way, like I don't really care what you get up to, this sort of attitude, which I do appreciate and I do like. But yeah, it did make me a little bit question. Before I go on to that, another thing, there was a few too many coincidences. I was just a bit like, I don't know. Like when they see their old sort of like school friends and stuff, like in the battlefields and in the trenches and stuff, I'm just like, there's so many like millions, I think, yeah, people here, and you are sort of like, you meet and stuff. I don't know, obviously it did obviously happen. People did see people they used to know, but there's a few too many, I would say. I guess it's just so you can revisit characters you had previously met and you're not constantly being introduced to new people. But yeah, also some bits I was like, I didn't actually know the actual realness of them, but they're in the historical notes. She does talk about like some references, so I can't really say anything about that. The bit that I had bookmarked was in these sort of like memoriams that are posted in like the newspaper, and so many times there's like these little quotes like, he would have been proud to give his life for his country. It was a gallant and glorious death. Gallant death. He gave up his life at his country's call. He died gloriously leading his men. And there's so many times, and it's falsified, like, because you're actually there as well with ones in the trenches that are writing back to families, and they make it out that like they died painlessly, they died quick, they died giving their life for the country. It was a gallant, no, glorious death, and the empire's going to, you know, thank them for their sacrifice, and it leaves out the brutality of how they actually died, and the horrible aspects of war and death, and that is mentioned a lot in the book, which it was hard to read, but I understood why she did it, and I guess this reinforces the brutality of the conflict, and yeah. Which it talks about like classism quite a lot, and there's a character called Hayes in the book, and he's from like a lower class, and I do feel like it does sort of like the subtleties, but also the outward classist things within society at the time quite well. Also about sort of like the impact on families and like the women back home. First and foremost, this is a historical novel. I thought it might have been a little bit more about the relationship. That's a major part as well, but it is primarily a historical novel. But there are parts about sort of like the queer lived experience during the time that I did find was done very, very well. There's a specific like a scene like in the bathtub, and I just really, really love that so much. And I want to say something else, but it's a spoiler, but I'm not going to say anything. Just like the bathtub scene, remember it, okay? But there's like a bit where like they're sort of like he's laying on the other one, and it just made me feel angry because like they was clearly like they had affection for each other, but they wasn't able to like show it, and it's just sort of about like the world that they grew up in and how their queerness was like made them to feel othered, and like they had to just hide and, you know, not express this part of themselves, whereas if it like one of them was a girl, they could just so easily have just like kissed each other or something, like they wouldn't have batted an eyelid, the other people. And yeah, I just thought that it was just done very well and just made me close to tears in a way. Also some other parts as well was made me close to tears. But yeah, I don't think I have any more notes to say. I probably do, but I will try and figure out my thoughts and write a review for this. But yeah, this video was such a success. I enjoyed all of them. I would recommend all of them. But yeah, a 3-star, I think I gave that 4 now, 2 5s and a 4.5. Can't go wrong, can you? Thank you very much, Taylor Swift. Also, I'd like the colours are beautiful. I might do this again, or maybe do another artist. Maybe a Madonna one. I thought that would be quite fun. But yeah, hope you enjoyed today's video. Have a nice morning, even night, wherever you are in the world, and I shall see you very, very soon. Bye.